Good evening and welcome today evening to the Casa Dialogues. This is Casa Dialogues number 2. Today we're going to discuss Munir on the Edge. And to discuss this topic, I have with me General Vinod Bhatia and General Gautam Murthy. At the outset, gentlemen, good evening to both of you, sirs, and welcome to Ghana Shot. A special welcome to General Vinod Bhatia, who's coming back online after a long time. Right. It's a pleasure to have both of you, sir. I must say so. Without wasting much time, I must tell everyone that look, my apologies for starting the show a few minutes late because man proposes and technology disposes, and AI, supposes. So that's where we are. And let's describe the whole topic. Munir on the edge. Why is Munir on the edge? He's got a lot of external pressures of sending troops to Gaza, especially when the internal situation in Pakistan is in dire states, right? But he has this great vision of Pakistan being revival of Pakistan as a great strategic player in this area. Alongside that, he's dealing with a transactional Trump who's got no loyalties except to making America great again and his own Nobel Prize and at all. Right. Simultaneously, what we have seen in the past 9 months is a switch to USA and the Middle East at the expense of China, which is quietly watching this whole thing furiously. Not come out in the open, but read the Chinese media and the fury is within. Right. At the same time, his situation, the Pakistan situation on the Western Front, is deteriorating faster than anyone can think. Whether it's Afghanistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, or in Balochistan. Right? And as this is happening, the Pakistan economy is cratering. It's cratering like never before. It's entered, as by many people, a bottomless pit where it can't now come out. And many actions by Pakistanis is bordering today on quite desperation, right? When all this is happening, there is some internal trouble brewing because of his sending troops to Gaza. And all this is overridden by the fact that Asim Munir wastes no time in externalizing the situation towards India. And he's done a major outreach to Bangladesh also, besides other places like Turkey and Saudi Arabia. His anti-India rhetoric is increasing by the day. Overall, you're looking at Asim Munir, Hafiz, on the edge, but belligerent at the same time. What do you make of it? How do things go from here? Is what we're going to deliberate on with the help of General Vinod Bhatia and General Gautam Murthy. I'd request General Gautam Murthy, sir, please tee off with your assessment of what it is, and then we'll see what we have to consider. Your assessment, sir.
Thank you very much, General Shankar. Good evening to you. Good evening to General Bhatia and our viewers. This subject indeed is quite an interesting one. Munir is facing unprecedented contradictions between consolidating his dominance constitutionally and managing the mounting domestic pressures and international pressures. Now, you started by speaking about the Gaza deployment. Munir has agreed to send troops to Gaza. Our good friend and colleague, General Atta Hasnain, has just this evening written a brilliant article on it. And he compared it to the time when India was also asked in 1991 to send a brigade to Iraq, and what India did and how India got out of such a commitment. I remember at that time we were saying that the Indian brigade there will be, like honey, attracting bees of all varieties. That is, this dilemma is being presented to Field Marshal Asim Munir. This does not have any clear resolution. He's contributing troops. It risks igniting a very fierce domestic backlash from Islamist parties who would then believe if they get in. And here now, although the UN has supported this force, will they be under Chapter 7 as a UN force, or they're going as a separate force? They are going as a separate force. But it will be akin to a Chapter 7 where they can use force to quell any problems over there. And using force on fellow Palestinians, you can imagine the kind of backlash that will happen. And God forbid they try using force on the Israelis, they will again get lammed. So Munir is between a very uh, big rock and a hard place as far as the Gaza development is concerned. He is already being accused of, doing Israel's bidding. And if he has to tell Trump, look, I'm sorry, the domestic pressure on me is too much, you never know how Mr. Trump is going to react. He will get very annoyed with Pakistan, and Munir intends to be in the good books of Trump. Now, the other problem that Munir faces, which you alluded to very clearly, was the political internal threat. Uh, uh, Pakistan people are seething with anger. They have found that this army has taken over power uh, with now with a lot of accountability, because this 27th constitutional amendment has made the Pakistan army actually very responsible and accountable to a large extent. Still, although it's a constitutional coup, he's still firing the gun from the shoulders of a civilian government. Now, how does Imran Khan now has got another 17 years RI? How is he going to get out of it? What are the problems he and his wife are facing? Is there any chance of Imran coming out of jail? These are questions that we do not, we cannot answer. If you recollect during Zia's time when he was being alluded, when Bhutto was still alive, somebody said uh, there is only one grave, but there are two people. So one of them is going to go into the grave, politically speaking and figuratively speaking. That will be either Imran or Munir. Right now, Munir is on the top, but tomorrow, if Imran comes up, then it's curtains for Munir. He has also given himself a kind of an immunity with this constitutional amendment, where he will not be held responsible. He's used nuclear rhetoric as a strategic liability. If we are a nuclear nation, if we are going to go down, we'll take half the world down with us. Very strangely, nobody reacted at that except India. So let's say Pakistan is under Munir's rule, which is a constitutional coup, and it's a kind of military constitution that is right now prevailing. Thank you. This is what I'll say right in the beginning, more later as we go along.
Thanks a lot, sir. I think you made some very interesting points. Pakistan going to Gaza is like putting honey to bees. And of course, the next thing is you alluded to Imran Khan and Asim Munir as being, competing for one grave and two champions, right? Whatever it is, two people for one grave. Be that as it may, I request General Vinod Bhatia, sir, your assessment of the whole thing as it's evolving in Pakistan.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to be on a platform once again. Always a pleasure and always learning experience, and with my colleague, General Gautam Murthy also. Three of us go back a long way. Thank you very much. It's a very interesting topic you chose. Munir is a study in himself. We got to profile him. He's smart, possibly a bit too smart for everyone's liking. He has defied established norms of Pakistani army, right? He has come back. He's come to the top, not through the steps which his predecessors have been there. He's from the Officers Training Academy. He's not from the PMA. If his appointments are held, he's been, of course, he's been a co-commander, but he's also in the DGM and the DGISI. As a DGISI was a SAG, and look at what he's done. If you look at him, there's a lot of blabber and bluster and boasting with him. But That's external. Internally, he is smart. He has taken the 27th Amendment. He's got immunity. He well realizes the fate of his three predecessors in Ayub, Zia, and Musharraf. What happened to them? Right? They had absolute power also. But absolute power also corrupts absolutely. So it's a part of corruption. And what actually interests is look at him the way he's maneuvered to get Pakistan in the diplomatic domain. He has Trump eating out of his hands for whatever reasons. There are no free lunches, so it is very good for Trump to invite him for a lunch. But now he's stuck with the deployment in Gaza, where he's been asked to disarm the Hamas, which he's not willing to do for practical reasons, domestic compulsions. So we see a different Munir altogether. We see a Munir who is into the diplomatic domain, meeting the heads of state, be it Trump or be it Xi Jinping or be it Saudi Arabia. He's just been awarded. He's been awarded by Saudi Arabian government. He's
Yes.
also engineered, whatever you may say, the Saudi, the strategic defense agreement, mutual defense agreement with Saudi Arabia. A similar agreement is in the cards Bangladesh also. He has promised 25,000 troops to Saudi Arabia. He's going to send 3,000 troops to Gaza. He's got issues with two divisions plus 33 division, 44 division to be precise, providing security to the BRI assets, the Chinese assets on BRI, the security divisions, right? So that is something which gets us thinking as to how is he managing all that with the situation along the India-Pakistan border, Op Sindoor still on a pause going on. A situation along the Durand line in the India and the Pakistan-Afghanistan border in the west, as General Gautam Murthy brought it out very rightly. And internal security situation, the TTP is having upper hand, and the Baluch liberation is, I would say, getting out of control. Right? Let's not forget this thing. But he's managed it well till now. Other than the economy, he's managed it well in the diplomatic domain, in the military domain, and the information domain. If I go back to Op Sindoor, we got to study Op Sindoor a little more, in depth. In Op Sindoor, it was Pakistan which was running for de-escalation. It was Pakistan which was asking the US, enough, let's not go ahead. So he fired that. But if you look at the kinetic aspects of it, he never wanted to escalate. There were no missiles fired from the Pakistani side. Right? We destroyed his AD umbrella. 9 of his bases were taken off immediately. Okay. He was left without AD umbrella. He went running to the US. We also didn't want escalation. We didn't want escalation. We just wanted to raise the cost and consequence of Pakistan terror, and that's what we did. But thereafter, they also realized that he has no strategic depth. That is something which is very categorical. And that is where I think the Saudi, with the mutual agreement, that strategic mutual defense agreement with Saudi comes into play. It's a very interesting one. So he's maneuvered that. But the key issue is for the first time in Pakistan on the 9th of May 2023, there was a groundswell against the Pakistani army. So much so that the corps commander's residence in Lahore was raided and looted, including things from biryani from the fridge. So there was a groundswell against the Pakistani army, which is Pakistan is most powerful. That is Munir, right? But he has maneuvered exactly 2 years later on, 9th of May, after Op Sindoor, he has maneuvered to become the darling of the Pakistani people. But now they're realizing that the darling is taking them down economic downturn, not a downturn actually, economic blackmail, if I may say, where everything in Pakistan today has become very expensive. 20% of their defense budget has been raised. There's no money in their economy is in doldrums. If they don't get the IMF loans, if they don't get the loans from Saudi Arabia, if they don't get the money from uh, basically China. They have got a problem. So what he's doing is he's monetizing the army. When I say monetizing the army, by sending 25,000 troops to Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia will pay, 3,000 troops to Gaza, which the UN and the Americans would pay, the ISF, the International Security Force. So it's monetizing the army. It's not going to last long. I think if you look at the not the immediate term, but the near to mid term, you will find that and he's visualized that. That's where the immunity clause in the 27th Amendment. Uh, Pakistan under Munir is in for trouble, especially in for trouble. Having said that, he's also, if you look at Munir now, he is the boss of the Pakistani army. He is the boss of the Pakistani armed forces, including the Pakistan Chief of Defense Forces. He's also got the nuclear command with him. He's got a very weak political dispensation doing his bidding. He's got Imran Khan right in jail for next 17 years. So he's got power right now. But will that last? Will there be an uprising? Unemployment is growing, economy is in shambles totally. Uh, how much can the army really hold on? And there's discontentment within the army also. The casualties are rising day by day. And there's discontentment in the army. So what we got to actually look at is what is propping him up. And I think what is propping him up is a false sense of an allies with the US. US is no one's, US, there's no free lunch with US. He'll have to pay for it, right? China is wait and watch. Saudi Arabia, yes. Iran, Afghanistan, and India. But what I fear most is that whenever he goes down and he comes into question in the public domain in Pakistan, he will try and instigate, perpetuate, sponsor a high visibility terror attack, either in JNK or maybe even outside of JNK, right? Uh, and he will try and test the new normal or the Modi doctrine, as we call it, and he will try and test that for once. And that is where I think we'll have to be very careful. And in my assessment, he is not going to escalate. He cannot escalate given the weaknesses. So, but he will try and test that because he is that's the only way he can remain in power. And an anti-India stance, where his political, the relevance of the Pakistani armed forces, economic relevance, political relevance, domestic relevance is based on anti-India. I will stop for now, and I'll come back later with any more, things you want to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So I think you made some very important points. Uh, his fundamental orientation remains Asim Munir's anti-India. Right. We'll get back to this anti-India thing a little later. But certain other points which you have made is that he is monetizing the army. Why is he monetizing the army? You called it economic blackmail. If I put some figures on it, it's actually astounding. And these figures are of July. They're not now. Now the things are even worse. In July, they had a poverty rate of below the poverty line of 45%. Just think of a nation of 250 to 275 million people with 40% below poverty line, right? 45% below poverty line, 22% unemployed. One in five Pakistanis are unemployed, 1 to 5 to 6, right? And their economy is contracting. Nominally, the growth is supposed to be at 1.7%. And this 1.7% is supposed to be over a 3-year period. This 3-year period coincides with from the time when Munir came into action. So the economy, the hard fact is he has managed the environment well. Afghanistan he's managed well. With whatever the problems are, he's managed India very well. He's managed Balochistan very well. He's handled Trump beautifully. He's holding fort with China. He's also threatened us through the east, which is manifesting in some form in Bangladesh. So all this is there, but the situation is far from rosy. Whether he is going to go do what Zia did in Gaza and pay for it, or he is attempting to do what Pervez Musharraf did with the ulema and get everyone around him and do all that, is to be seen. Ultimately, we have to see whether he'll be treated like Pervez Musharraf or bombed out of existence like Ziaul Haq or gunned down like Benazir Bhutto and all others, or he might go back into a Kalkotri like he's put Imran Khan. Because in that state, I don't think immunity means for anything beyond a point. But the fundamental underlying factor which General Bhatia brought out is that anti-India. So I've got back to that anti-India is prime. So we must expect a terror attack. If things go down south in, Pakistan, and they will. He can't escalate. He can't do the conventional. He can't afford the conventional because by then, say 1, 2, 3 months from now, a substantial amount of troops would have been committed in Gaza and Saudi Arabia, and his commitment into BRI, which leaves him very little for escalation conventionally. Add to the fact that what's happening in Afghanistan and Balochistan. So he has to escalate this through a hybrid route. The hybrid route is the one which is open to him most. So a terror attack, a hybrid attack, or an internal attack like the kind we saw in Delhi is fully on the cards. Or he could instigate Bangladesh to do something. I mean, just think if we can or distract us and put us into a problem in Bangladesh where we have to militarily react and get India off his back. So these are the options which are available with Asim Munir, which have now are pretty clear to all of us. The second question, which I would like both of you to consider and answer is, what do we do? What does India do? What are India's options? How does India go about the whole affair? And when you consider this, also please consider that there's a situation brewing up in Bangladesh, right? And then how do we deal with the emerging situation in Pakistan? First, General Gautam Murthy sir, please.
Very interesting question, and I'm sure not only us, but number of scholars and the government policy planners are taking this into account. Why did the Pahalgam attacks happen in the first place after so many months? The reason is very obvious. Munir had to consolidate his position, and there was the only way open to him was this. And this works for him. You see, when we went and hit back in Op Sandur, what they have realized is that India would hit back conventionally. But immediately, please understand the statement that he made at that dinner, which I alluded to, which I quoted, when he says, if anything happens, we'll take half the world down with us. He means that he's again trying to tell you that there is no space for conventional actions. It's either going to be very, very subconventional, which basically means a terrorist attack because there's no other subconventional that I see. And next is, he says there's nuclear, there's nothing in between. So he is trying to, again, try to bring both of them together to say, look, India does not have options and we will hit you if you do anything to us. Bangladesh is a very serious thing. And the other thing, you see, we may be saying that he's anti-India, but please understand, he is playing the communal card. He didn't say India, he said Hindus and Muslims cannot live together. What is he trying to say? We are living in great harmony, in great peace. Of course, there are one or three incidents do take place, one or loudmouth in today's day of social media on both sides. But by and large, Hindus and Muslims are living in peace. And what is the narrative that is being spun in Bangladesh again? It is a communal narrative which they want India also to be taken up in a communal conflagration. This is something we must avoid. So, what do we do? A, we remain strong domestically. Our political leaders must ensure, our local leaders must ensure that communal harmony prevails irrespective of what happens. B, diplomatically, our diplomats are amongst the finest in the world. They have to go, they have to reach out, they have to tell the others, look, this is the game this chap is playing. It is so evident, kindly see through it. And other people are realizing what has happened. We recently seen what's happened in Australia. So the world is alive to this. Pakistan and Munir particularly, they managed to project themselves as victims of terrorism when they are basically the perpetrators of terrorism. All terrorists act, and everyone says this, happening anywhere in the world, you can trace the roots back to Pakistan. Either the ideology from there, or the men from there, or whatever it is. Today, they're facing a backlash in Afghanistan. Now, Afghans are not going to keep quiet. Baluchis are not keeping quiet. You are seeing amongst the most um, popular forms of entertainment, the cinema. Dhurandhar is supposed to be a hit in Pakistan. I mean, pirated versions, of course. So there is something to what Munir is doing, and India has to be on our guard. We cannot let our communal guard down. And as General Bhatia will always back me up, keep your powder dry, ensure hit back, hit hard if anything happens, and don't escalate. Hit but don't escalate. Now that is a difficult ask. I'm sure General Bhatia will be able to elucidate more upon that, being a former DGMO. Back to you, General Shankar.
Thanks a lot, sir. Brought some very important issues in focus. One of the first things and very important things which India must do is maintain communal harmony within the country, and then go on a defensive, diplomatic overdrive and put people wise, strategic communications. I think it's a very important thing, given the fact that in during Ops Sindoor, if there was one weakness India displayed, and it was in strategic communications, and it's now well acknowledged within informed people that our strategic communications were lacking, right, and we need to set that right, and nothing like now. Okay. So, given these two things, you also said if needed, we have to hit them back and then you can't escalate. So, given these two things, and we have to focus on our own, growth. Let me lay out a scenario and paint a different scenario. I won't say a different scenario. Let me illustrate the scenario before I request General Bhatia for his comments. We also know, like he knows, going conventional will get us nowhere because that's not good for our economy in the long run, nor is it good for the overall development of India, and it will distract us from our own growth. So going economy, growing conventional and escalating the situation is not good, great. After all, one of the best things we did in Ops Sindoor was not what we hit Pakistan with, not what we hit the terrorist camps with successfully, but successful war termination after 96 hours, whatever, 88 hours. I thought that was the best part of Ops Sindoor, where we taught Pakistan a lesson, gave a demonstration of our capabilities to the whole world, and quit the game when we were ahead of the show. Notwithstanding the information hype which came about later. Given this condition, my question to General Vinod Bhatia, sir, would you think that one of the best options we have with us is being political, one, and combine it with a hybrid option? Why I say political was one of the best ways to neutralize Pakistan army is political, and we did it in when we scrapped Article 370 completely. Because at that point of time, it left Pakistan on the army on the sidelines. They didn't know how to react. So we have to find a political solution to this whole story and combine it with a hybrid or a gray zone operations to keep Pakistan, under control and keep Munir under the check as and when we rise. I mean, I would say continue to grow, simultaneously handle Bangladesh and keep the lid on top of the treasure cooker which is happening. Your views, sir.
Thank you. I think very interesting points have come. It's an excellent discussion. Uh, Let me try and put it in perspective. Communal harmony. See, I think again we lack strategy of communication. If you look at communal harmony, India has got more followers of Islam than Pakistan,
Yes.
and there's not been a single communal rights after Muzaffarnagar in 2013. Okay, there'll be strange that we have 1.45 billion people. There'll be incidents. Fine. Which country doesn't have incidents? Why are we blowing it apart? Where are we heading? If you talk to the people, if you take a cab driver, he's very happy. He's
Yes.
getting a living. In the end, what do you want? What does the man want? Peace. And there is peace. And this some of this hype is created of communal disharmony. I don't agree with it. You tell me one communal right after Muzaffarnagar in 2013. It has not happened. There were strange incidents, yes. There have been, shot puts. It will happen always. We want to control that, and we want to control the media. That is one. Coming back to the main topic, Pakistan. I also, we also should not talk too much about, not escalating. That is the Pakistan lingo. Pakistan doesn't want escalation. But if you bleed me, keep bleeding me, with 1,000 cuts, is there this thing? I have finite sort of strategic patience. Be it Bangladesh. Bangladesh, you understand that we have finite strategic. I've been using 33 core. I was responsible for that Siliguri corridor, and I was responsible for the Bangladesh border, which was in my AOR. They have to understand that if India could help liberate Bangladesh in 13 to 14 days, it will take us just 13 to 14 hours to cut off the Chittagong corridor, which is about 20 kilometers. Right? It doesn't take anything. Militarily, it doesn't take much. You just have to do the maths.
I agree with you. Not only the
Yeah.
Chittagong corridor, sir,
So
even the
yeah.
Rangpur town, which you can
So,
finish off, Tetulia corridor.
you take the Chittagong corridor. You command a brigade there. You know it
Yeah.
better. Well, it won't be a cakewalk. I'm not saying a cakewalk, but what can Bangladesh really do? Why are they threatening? Why are you getting threatened? The Bangladeshi dispensation, Mr. Yunus, presents a book to the Chief of General Staff of the Pakistani Army, which shows a map where northeastern states are part of Bangladesh. I think our soft power should not take a soft state as a Bangladesh concerned. Similarly, Pakistan also. If we are to hit at Pakistan, if there is a war, let there be a war. It is not an interest. We are not a warmongering people. But how long can I sustain my strategic patience? Please understand that. There is a sentiment. After Op Sindoor, there's so many people who ask the question, why we stopped? Why we stopped? Let's sort it once for all. So it's been 40 years, 35, 37 years right now. So we don't have that sort of infinite sort of a strategic patience. And Pakistan can't keep on saying, "I'll give you 1,000 cuts. I'll give you 1,000 cuts." But let's just cut them. Degrade the Pakistani army. After Musharraf was, it was unthinkable for anyone to think that Musharraf will go down. He went down. It is unthinkable anyone to think Ziaul Haq would go down. He went down. Of course, he went down with some help. Similarly, Ayub Khan. So it's not that military dictators are military dictators. They're Munir is smart. Let's also say that he's smart, but like I said initial state, a bit too smart. So when it comes to teaching Pakistan a lesson, we have to understand that we had a cold start doctrine, which Pakistan calls a cold start doctrine, which I called a proactive, preemptive, and punitive strategy, the three P strategy. On your show, we have spoken about it, right? Now that cold start doctrine has become cold strike doctrine. What does it imply? We are not sitting idle after of Sindoor or of pause. We have learned our lessons. We learned how to get back into Pakistan. And what's going to happen to Pakistan in the next monsoons? Water. Are we forgetting that? Water is the water go 95% of Pakistan water goes to India. Similarly, 52 rivers flow from India to Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Right? A lot of people tell us, no, you can't use water as a weapon. China use water as a weapon also. China will use whatever it has to do in any case, whether you use it or not. Okay. Right. So let's not get involved in that. Pakistan to understand the economy is down. It's an agricultural economy, and if we were just to regulate the water a little bit, they will not know where to go. Their food security is threatened. The agriculture is threatened. The employment is threatened. The economy is threatened. It's not only military. In the end, the people will feel the pinch. They'll bear the cost of the foolishness of the Pakistani army in trying to bleed India. They achieve nothing. What did they achieve? They bled more actually. It was Hillary Clinton who said so. You can't have snakes in your backyard and ask them to not bite your neighbors only. It's not going to happen. Okay. So when you talk of Pakistan, please understand Pakistan, we have a cold start doctrine, we have a cold start strike strategy for now. We have a 3P strategy. And, it is okay. We don't want to escalate. We're a peace loving nation, and rightly so. We have our priorities, we have our national interest, well being of people comes first. But that doesn't come at the cost of our hitting our national flag. Right? You can't come to a territory and say, "Hum karte rahenge." How long? Public sentiment today in India is totally different. Public sentiment is totally anti Pakistan. and that public sentiment very strong. No government, no dispensation power can ignore that public sentiment. We're a democracy. Public sentiment very important, right? Having said that, now Pakistan can keep trying what it's going to do. It's not going to change because it is the survival of the Pakistani army, the power of the Pakistani army, like I say. But that does not mean that Pakistani army can continue to suppress its own people, its own economy, and information strategic communication is good enough for some time. After some time, the strategic communication doesn't work. People understand that public opinion is, people have got the ear to the ground. There is a groundswell. And what happened on 9th of May 2023 should be a lesson for Pakistan. Right? I'm not saying that Pakistan people should uprise. I'm not saying that. It will happen in any case. In the end, I have to feed the family. I have to send my children to the school. I need employment. The Pakistani rupee, we talk of 91 as Indian, but look at the Pakistani rupee, it's got no value. Water is a problem. Electricity is a problem out there. The BRA, which is supposed to infuse the economy, has not come up. And Pakistan is in trouble, actually. It's in trouble. If I may say, Pakistan is now almost landlocked. On the east, India. On the west, Afghanistan and Iran. And if you look at the link to China, Xinjiang, it's a very hazardous link. It is not that it's a 24/7 road. It's a very long one. Okay, so there are issues with Pakistan's vulnerabilities are there. They're very vulnerable, and Munir can do so much and no more. And he's smart enough. He will look after his power. If you look at it, he gives himself the halal zarat. Mahavir Chakra equivalent, sitting in the office. It is given in the face of the enemy, right? But he has awarded himself that. So there is a limit to what Munir can do, Munir cannot do, and the people will Pakistan wake up. So 2 3 points to sum up. Strategic communication, I think we need it, and we need to have systems and structures for it, right? Uh, Pakistan got the better. They had the DG ISPR did a better job. There's no doubt about it. But that has got a finite value. It's got a limited value. In the end, the economy has to shore up. Military alone cannot do anything. Economy has to come up. Economy is down. Military itself got many weaknesses. Nuclear is a blackmail, a rhetoric, a bluster, a blabber. He can say, I'll take down half the world. I think he's too smart for that. There's the external Munir and the internal Munir. His survival depends on keeping Pakistan together on an anti-India platform. And if he goes, he will never go nuclear. I don't think so. He'll never go nuclear. He cannot afford to go nuclear because the day he goes nuclear, that's the last of Pakistan. Our nuclear doctrine is very simple. It is massive retaliation, and we know the length and breadth of Pakistan.
Thanks a lot, sir. I think you said a lot of things. We know the length and breadth of Pakistan. Our nuclear retaliation will be massive. So if you take that out of the equation, which is out of the equation, I mean, just think. We hit Pakistan along its length and breadth. In those 88 hours in Op Sindoor, there was not a whimper of nuclear retaliation. That is the demonstrated performance of Pakistan. If and from that day to now, their air defense systems have not improved because China or USA has not given them any new equipment and there's no information about any repair of this. Neither has USA given them any money to replace those F-16s. They've given them a program for maintenance, but it has not come through so far. So Pakistan militarily is at its weakest. And if troops go out for Gaza, it will be even weaker. So in this kind of a situation, I think it's high time my esteemed seniors have said, we chalk out a clear-cut strategic, communication system where we highlight that we are capable of cold strike. It's no more cold start. I think General Bhatia made a very important point of cold strike. And this cold strike will, start with no time and become too hot for them to handle. And the second thing is water. Pakistan remains an agrarian economy, right? With 70% of their people depending on agriculture, which only contributes 20% to their economy. But 70% are there. And that water, if you start choking it off at this point of time, things will automatically fall in line, right? And their whole story will, start going south. And if we do this, put our things together and look at political options. That's why I invoke those political options with an odd outreach to POJK, outreach to Afghanistan, which we are doing, plus some outreach to even a setup like TTP, or for that matter, Balochistan. I think Pakistan will be in full trouble. We don't have to escalate it even further. Yeah. So I'd request each of you to spend about 2 to 3 minutes on what do we do with Bangladesh, because simultaneously we have a problem with Bangladesh which is brewing up. Where do you see this going? Just about 3 4 minutes if each one of you could spend, so that we understand how we handle both these evolving problems. General Gautam Murthy, sir.
Bangladesh, we are facing a severe crisis. Bangladesh itself is facing unsurmountable problems. The bulk of the people are obviously not in favor of this violence. The bulk of the people have their affinity with India. They cannot rewrite history. They cannot say that, India was sort of peripheral in there, and with or without India, they would have got independence. There are some of the people, these voices are coming up. Let us go back and see, right during the formation of Bangladesh, there have always been two opposing camps. And I've had the good fortune and opportunity to interact with a number of Bangladeshi officers. And you could very clearly hear them out and know. And let me tell you, of all the officers whom I've interacted with, perhaps there was just one who had slight views on, on India trying to, or he would say that India is dominating and, things of the sort. And we would sort of tell him, look, that is not the case. You don't have to feel ashamed about your size or try to, you know, cover down to say, no, no, I'm not as tall as I am. You're tall, you're tall. You have to make no apologies about it. So there is a schism. There's a very deep schism in Bangladesh. India is not going to return Sheikh Hasina come what may. She may find another place in some Gulf country or some other place of refuge. But India is not going to bow down to these elements. It is very clear that complete law and order is broken down. The Bangladesh army is still sitting quiet, and the Bangladesh army is a strong, sensible force. Uh, so let us just hope that we keep our finger on the pulse and not become reactive to situations there. Back to you, General Shah.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Things are not that bad as they seem. Uh, I have no doubt about it, and I would like all those who are viewing it. You must understand when there's a lot of emotion regarding Bangladesh, and that emotion is quite frothy, right? And this emotion is on both sides of the border. So that's why I've been laying a lot of emphasis on Bangladesh, and I'd like the last word on Bangladesh and how to handle it with General Bhatia, because he's commanded 33 Corps, he's commanded Chicken Neck, he's commanded the troops opposite the Chumbi Valley, and he knows Bangladesh better than most of us and how to handle it. Right? So your final views on Bangladesh, and then we'll take a few questions.
No, Bangladesh interesting actually. Uh, Geography, where you sit in geography dictates what your stand is. And if you look at the geography of Bangladesh, 4096.2 kilometers of borders with India, only 100 odd kilometers with Myanmar. Right?
Myanmar.
Myanmar. So three sides is India. So the entry to the Bay of Bengal can be controlled anytime we want. Right? If we can do it for Pakistan, the Arabian Sea during off Sindoor, I see no reason. It won't take us much effort to ensure that the shipping doesn't go to Bangladesh. Bangladesh is dependent on energy on India, Nuwaligarh pipeline. They're dependent on power from India. They're dependent on water from India. They're dependent on the land ports from India, right? The resource, the raw material, nearly 60 to 70% goes from India for the ready-made garment industry, the RMG, right? Which is the basic data. If you look at a few years back during the COVID, Bangladesh was one economy which was being looked at by the world as one of the economies which had sustained and grown exponentially, right? And not that's only 4 5 years back. Now, if they want to be a self-destruct mode, so be it. The problem for India will be immigration. They can talk of Bangladesh, Siliguri corridor. हम ऐसे थोड़ी बैठे हैं वहां पर. Siliguri corridor they're talking about. They can do nothing in Siliguri corridor, right? So I'm not too concerned about Siliguri corridor. We are strong enough out there. But the problem will be immigration. When Bangladesh goes down, a stable Bangladesh is in our interest. If Bangladesh goes down, the people will migrate to India. You can't stop a few hundred people, a few thousand people. The fence is there, the border security force is there, but how do you stop thousands of people coming in? So immigration will be a problem, and immigration lead to further problems of internal security. When they come in, it will lead to major issues over there. So we have to make sure that Bangladesh remains a little more stable, and I don't see that happening till the 12th of February elections. And the present, if I may, if I may say so, what's going on there, it may delay the elections. I hope it doesn't happen. Right. Though Mohammed Yunus has ensured that the election will go on February 12th, but things are not looking too bright security-wise. And like you rightly said, the army is keeping quiet. The army is wait and watch, right? And it is the army who can stability in Bangladesh, and I'm hopeful of that. I'm hopeful of. Jamaat is Pakistan controlled, Pakistani funded, right? But the army is wait and watch. Army doesn't want to go against the youth, and rightly so. No army should go against its own youth, right? So they're looking for an opportunity for the tempers to go down and then step in a manner. And I respect the Bangladesh army for not taking over. No, we have to also understand that for many years, it was the Pakistani army was in the Bangladeshi, but they have grown out of it. It's a professional army in many ways. So what I see is that we need to put pressure on Bangladesh, energy security, power, water, trade, right? And that is the way to go about it for the present moment. And let them talk. They're okay. They can't do very
Yeah,
much more.
talk what we can allow them. So I have one final question, and this is on elections, and I'd like your views on this. You see, elections are important to be held, and the way things are, the elections might not be held. And this is completely counterintuitive and counterproductive to the way we think, because the fast elections are best held fastest in Bangladesh. But if the situation is not good, it's not good to hold the elections, right? And the mechanism within Bangladesh is not conducive to holding elections at this point of time. And it is very clear that all kinds of biases exist. And very clearly, this is not a government which is legal. It is not even legal, even right. So in that kind of a thing, do you think there's a case for India to do something and get the elections conducted under international watch and motivate people diplomatically? And it needs a hell of a lot of diplomatic effort and push for elections to be done from outside. Your views, sir. Both of you.
It's a tough call actually.
Tough call. It's a tough call.
Because we as a rule we don't interfere with the.
No, we don't interfere. I'm not saying we don't.
No, we
We
don't
don't
interfere with
interfere.
the happenings of a country, right? As this thing, Jal Murthy, please.
Just a point, a very major point. No election in Bangladesh can be fair unless all parties participate. They had a problem with Sheikh Hasina. They pushed her out of the country for whatever reason. She had to leave. There were riots. There was all kinds of things. But to ban the entire party, if you're after leader and maybe a coterie or whatever they may be saying, you cannot ban such a huge political party that fought for your freedom. It's like India banning the Congress party in 1950. I mean, unthinkable, because the Congress party got you freedom in 1947. And 20 years later, do you ban a party like this? Or 50 years later, do you ban a party like this? How is it possible? So, whatever India may do, unless the what India can do in helping the people of Bangladesh, mind you, I'm saying this, is to ensure that all parties participate in the elections whenever it is held. I just say this.
Fine. Anything else to add, General Bhatia, sir? Otherwise, I'll take some questions.
No, no, it's interesting, and I see a China, Pakistan, Bangladesh axis, right?
Yeah.
And to meet and mitigate the threat, we need to be ready. And there are challenges definitely, but that does not mean that we can't overcome them. We're a strong nation, we're a resilient nation, we're a responsible nation, we're a resurgent nation, and we are a global leader, right? So, we talked to the Himalayan blunder of China on your show. Uh,
Yeah.
so it is not that, everything is not lost. But then we got to keep ourselves abreast, keep ourselves aware, we keep ourselves prepared, and we should work towards, when we talk about armed forces, ensuring peace, right, from a position of relative strength, be it China, be it Pakistan, be it Bangladesh, be it China, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So we got to ensure peace for the nation, national security. Viksit Bharat, Surakshit Bharat. Surakshit
Yeah.
Bharat, Viksit Bharat.
Yes.
Yeah. Viksit Bharat, Surakshit Bharat, and this Surakshit Bharat has to be taking on this China, Pakistan, Bangladesh triangle. And we need to do it with cool heads and reasoning and not emotionally reacting to every Tom, Dick, and Harry talking what he wants. And we have the capacity to do this. It is not the first time this has happened. Go back to 71. It was the same axis with China thrown in, and we handled them. And we handled them very well. And if we could break up Pakistan then, we can break up Pakistan even now. Or for that matter, East Pakistan 2.0 also can be broken up. I'll leave it at that. We'll take some few questions. Okay. Yeah. Cedric Daniels, thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. I think direct action on Bangladesh will lead to US and Europe pressurizing with economic sanctions. People running this Bangladesh are exactly the same people who ran the Ukrainian trap. Your views, sir, General Murthy, sir. So I will take questions. I'll keep alternating between the two of you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
See,
start with you, sir.
to pin all your woes and all your problems on external factors is not correct. Bangladesh has a problem. It's a structural problem. It's a problem inherent in itself. Yes, if someone is fishing in the troubled waters, it's a different matter. But people running this Bangladesh exactly the same as people who ran the Ukraine trap, I don't think there's a comparison over here. Um,
Okay.
Bangladesh has a unique set of problems and it has to be tackled uniquely. Thank you.
Okay. Next question, sir. India has to stop doing reactive diplomacy. We have to be aggressive and ruthless in a chaotic world. Even a country like Bangladesh is taking us for a ride. What a shame. Sir, your view. I mean, I would say the second part of the question is not irrelevant. Bangladesh is definitely not taking us for a ride. But the first part of the question is pretty sensible. And I think we need to spend some time on it. Then, Bhatia, sir.
Yeah, I tend to agree with the first part with Enlightened Soul. You see, we got to, there's a time for diplomacy and there's a time for using your smart power, if not your hard power, right? Like I said, our soft people-centric approach should not be taken by a neighbor as a soft state approach. We're not a soft state. We can protect our interests. We've shown it earlier. Wherever required, we have gone for. We are net security provider. We've been to Bangladesh to liberate it. We went to Bangladesh to help it during the floods in '91. Later on, also similarly Sri Lanka, Maldives. But the fact is that yes, the anti-India sentiment should come with cost and consequences for the people. There should be no doubt about it. It is not that if we can't handle the neighborhood well, we can't be a global leader. First, our backyard has to be, and it's our back. It's an Indian subcontinent. Let's have no doubts about it. I say it very categorically. I'm not a diplomat. I'm a soldier. Hey, it's an Indian subcontinent. They can't be going to Kunming, and the Chinese can't be holding Bangladeshis out there, and a mini South Asia SARC meeting can't take place out there. No, they have to the Bangladesh have realized they would, and the consequences are there. Bangladesh had the largest visa operation in the world was in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, India, 6 million visas. Now we stopped that. Okay, so people are going to pay for it. People are going to suffer. Okay. So it's not that we're not doing anything diplomatically. Militarily, like I said, we don't need to do anything right now. There are many other ways of doing it. Economic sanctions, and the world will put economic sanctions. I don't agree with it at all. They need us more than we need them. They need our
Yes.
markets. We're a big country. We are economic power, the third largest economy. Who's going to put sanctions on us?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
will we will buy Russian oil for the last 45 years. Has anyone done any sanctions? They keep threatening the sanctions. They threatened with Katsa also. We bought S-400. Strategic autonomy is India's national interest. Please. Who will put sanctions for how long? They can threaten us to put sanctions. Let them do it. They put sanctions on ISRO. Look where ISRO has gone. They put sanctions on the Department of Atomic Energy. Look what DA has done. I hope they put sanctions on defense technologies also. It'll be homegrown technology come up in no time. And you had IT. I'm sure you'll be, with no time you'll get critical technologies also, cutting edge technologies also. We got the brains. We got everything with us.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind, sir. I was part of the integrated
Yeah.
missile development program when this, all these sanctions were there, and I can tell many stories how we got around them. And I'm using that experience of that time to do what I'm doing in IIT. So let's
Yes,
not,
that is why you're giving a knowing smile. So we'll keep it at that.
we'll keep it at that. Before I talk too much. The intrusive thumbs may have already been cut and taken. Plans may be afoot to widen the area of operation and expand the sphere of influence. Your views. Akash, we've spoken. You heard what General Bhatia said. If we have to do what we have to do, we'll do. If we have to take out that corridor connecting Bangladesh with Chattogram, we'll do it. If we have to take out that Rangpur Tetulia corridor, we'll do it. I mean, let me give you a heads up. What has India done? India has put three cantonments, one at Chopra, one at Kishanganj, and third at, what's that place, Dubri. Those three, if you see, are around the Tetulia corridor and Rangpur and all that. That whole thing can be swiped off in one day, not more, right? We know what to do, so leave it. We want to be nice about it. Yeah, there's a question. This thing, should we cut it off? We can even start something like a Louisiana purchase. We can purchase it out. I think that type of a thing we could start, but then we'll see how it goes.
We also had the army top brass visiting Tripura.
Visiting, yeah, Tripura, right? And he's gone to a place where I used to keep going often. So
It was
it's not that in this plan. Look, yes, like what?
it was your area of operations. You're responsible for
Yeah,
that.
my area of operation, I know fully well what they have gone and done. It will just take one company to go and sit there and finish that place off. End of story. You see, that corridor might be 20 kilometers, but there's only one road there. Okay. Yeah. Next question. Good evening, General. I think this is a very interesting question. Do you think our neighbors, Pakistan and Bangladesh, are giving us opportunities on a platter to settle the unfinished business to our west and east once and for all? If so, are we grabbing it? Your views, sir. Anyone can take on, any one of you. This is open.
Let me also say that India has no territorial aspirations other than what we rightly is ours. Okay. We have never we are not an expansionist nation, right? What is rightly ours. If POK is the 12th of February 1992 Parliament resolution, it's a Parliament resolution. Okay. We have never done that. We went into Bangladesh, liberated it, came back. Nations don't go back like this. IPKF, we came back. Maldives, we came back. We had tasks to do, we came back. We went on the invitation of the government under the Jawaharlal Rajiv Gandhi Accord, 1987, 29 July 1987. And we did our job and came back. Maldives, we went the invitation of the President on 3rd of November 1988. We went in and came back within no time. Okay. So it is not that we got expansionist this thing. We are not a nation expansionist, but what is rightly ours is ours. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. There is a picture of Yunus and Alex Soros. This guy openly says he will invest $1 billion to remove the current government. Some folks running a lot of conflicts in this world. Look, all these things, we should take it at, just information value and leave it at that. No mother son like Soros or his father-in-law has come and done anything in India. All these stunts have been tried and nothing has happened. Okay, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was in chair, America did its best to do all this nonsense. When Mr. Modi is there, they're trying their best. Nothing will happen. So don't worry. This is all kite flying. Yeah, thanks a lot, Bridget. So for joining in as a member, I'll take a few more questions. Yeah, India has been secular as long as its civilization has existed. Are Pak and Bangladesh pushing India away from secularism, even when even the very docile Hindus have started thinking otherwise? Gautam sir, your views.
Okay, I'll put it this way. Secular is more of a West-oriented word. If you ask me, I think India has always been a plural nation. Plurality means everybody is entitled to their beliefs, everybody lives. It's a live and let live. So many people have come, so many dynasties have come and they've perished or they've merged with the society. India is plural. The partition was a huge aberration, and because we are under colonial powers, and then what happened politically, the hundreds of books on the partition, why it took place. Mahatma Gandhi, in fact, at once upon a time, he said, "How are you? What is partition? Are you going to partition every village, every town, every street on this country?" So, Muslims and Hindus have been living together for ages. Yes, there were conquests, there were people who converted out of their own free will. There have been both. But to say that, Hindus are under threat or Muslims are under threat in India is not correct. General Bhatia very beautifully put it across. He says, after 2013, where has there been a problem? 103 incident happens. So India is not going anywhere. Remains rooted to its principles of secularism as enshrined in the constitution. The secularism is based on this huge plural character of our people. If our people were not plural, if our people were not secular, India would be torn apart.
Yeah.
So I leave it at that. There is no question of it. We are strong. We are strong because our society is very strong.
Okay. Muslims in India need to openly stand up for India and the prosperity it provides to all Indians, else it will be an uphill battle given support from the West for Pakistan and Bangladesh. I've taken this question to highlight something. I think let's take two prominent Muslim leaders in our country. One is Mr. Omar Abdullah in JNK, and the second is Mr. Owaisi, MIM. From
Yes.
If you see Mr. Owaisi, see what he spoke during the parliamentary thing which we went abroad, and what he spoke, the way he spoke, the way he supported the idea of India. And after that also, very recently, in a couple of times, even during the Delhi blast, even now, the statements which he says is he's standing up. Right. You look at Mr. Omar Abdullah, he's very clearly said the Modi government is helping him. It's helping him. Okay. So I don't think this is the thing. And then a very interesting tweet today I saw. A very interesting tweet I saw from a Bangladeshi. He says, look, Sheikh Hasina is a Muslim. Bangladesh is a Muslim country. There are 50 Muslim countries in the world. There's only one person who's given her, shelter. That's Mr. Modi. Right? So I don't think we are on any way. We are on a bad wicket. In fact, I think we are on a very solid wicket internally on this issue. I'd like both the generals to weigh in with their views and add to what I've said. Uh, General Murthy sir, and then General, because this is a very important issue in the context of Pakistan and Bangladesh.
It is extremely unfair to us Muslims in India to so-called openly stand up for India. They are for India. I mean, where is the doubt? Why they have to keep on, raising flags and saying, no, no, we are for India, we are for India? Are you questioning the loyalty? It's ridiculous. There may be a few radical elements, there's no doubt about it. But for a few radical elements, the entire 120 million Muslims, are you questioning? That is not correct at all. They're very much for India. They're in the Indian Army, the Indian Armed Forces, the Indian Civil Services. They are every part of our society. So this is not correct at all, this kind of question. That's all that I have to say. And you very clearly said our Muslim leaders are speaking up. What more is required? I don't understand. Are all Hindu leaders speaking up? Will be my next question. You don't have to. These things are understood. They are obviously for India. They are rooted in India. None of them will want to go to Pakistan or Bangladesh. You ask them. So there is no question about all this. I agree with what General Shankar has said completely. We take recourse to this fact. Back to you, General
General,
Shankar.
General Bhatia sir.
They're Indians. They're as
Please,
patriotic as any one of us, more
yeah.
patriotic. And I think I don't know where this question has come up from. Honestly, it means they're as much Indian as any one of us. They're more Indians than anyone else. Let me just put it bluntly. Having served with them, having known them. Uh, anyway, like rightly said in the initial stage, not rightly, I said so. No, we have not had communal rights. So why is this question coming? Why has this question come up?
Yeah, we must have faith. We must have faith in ourselves and our country and our people, right? And I can vouch. All three of us have served with Muslim troops. We've commanded Muslim troops. We've commanded pure Muslim troops, and shared all their joys and pains with them and their celebrations also. So I think we should set aside this notion that they have to stand up. They have stood up.
Abdullah,
We call ourselves a missile force, and the father of our missile force was a Muslim. What more can he stand? And mind you, I've sat across the table and spoken. So, and he used to tell me, he says, Shankar, the day we can send a missile far, he never said where. He said we can send far. We will be a strong nation. So we are a strong nation thanks to him. So let's leave it at that. So I think we've had a terrific thing, and I'd like to thank. I don't take amiss with the question he gave. I think in that question he gave us an opportunity. In fact, I think it's a good question. Gave us an opportunity to explain to everyone the strengths of India. Look at it. Let's look at it positively. All right. So with this, sir, I think we had a terrific session. I'd like to thank everyone who's given some fantastic questions. There are more. I wouldn't like to continue because General Bhatia has already had a long day. So I would, at the outset, any concluding remarks, sir, will request General Gautam Murthy and then General Bhatia, and then we'll conclude. Over to General Gautam Murthy.
I think we have had a very good discussion, as you have said. It's wait and watch both on the east and on the west. We are not reactive. We are looking, I'm sure our policy planners are looking at various options. And let us see, the main thing is about Munir. Let him first set his house in order before he tries to, do something untoward over here. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much, General Shankar, for this opportunity.
you see, Munir is up today, but the higher they go, the harder they fall. We have to understand that, and especially in Pakistan. And it's a question of time. Uh, he will not be able to live up to the expectations of the people the way he is going. So let's wait for the near to in the near term, not the immediate term, the near term. Give 2 to 3 years and see where Munir goes. So, like you rightly said, Munir on the edge needs a little bit of push. Thank you.
Yeah, the higher they go, the harder they fall. And he's going to send his troops, convert them into honey, where the bees from Hamas will come and do what they have to do. So we'll hope for the best, and we'll continue this on Gunner Shot. We're going to talk of this. I mean, next week we're going to talk of Bangladesh exclusively, and when we talk of Bangladesh next week, we'll also talk of Pakistan, because both these things are going hand in glove and side by side, and to some extent they are our wings, and our wings are under stress, and we need to take care of them. With this, thanks a lot, sirs. Thanks a lot. I think that today was an enlightening discussion with both of you. Always a pleasure to have you on Gunner Shot. It's you opened my eyes, and I thank a lot for the viewers who came up with so much enthusiasm with some fantastic questions. I'm sorry I couldn't take all. Till then, thank you. Have a great evening, and Jai Hind to all of you, sirs.
Thank you
Jai
very
Hind.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and Jai Hind. All the best.
Thank you, and thank you, viewers, for your patience.